What is up, guys? Welcome on back to TK's Garage, and something we haven't talked about here in a little bit. We're talking about today, California. Now, I touched on this a little bit yesterday over on Auto Intel Daily. We'll talk about it here today. California's in trouble. They're in trouble. The feds are closing in, and not only were they going after, the train stuff and some of that transportation funding and driver's license issues and decertifying them to issue CDLs, but grant money that was issued from the former EPA to the new EPA. This is bad news for Newsom. Guys, before I get into today's video talking about California, I got to talk about the giveaway that's going on the channel. Not super long, won't be here 5 minutes, I promise. We do have that Ram TRX giveaway going on right now and the Challenger SRT 392 as well. Currently, we have very limited inventory left with Still Lit Lighting Solutions. 9, I believe, are currently left available that give you the entry for the Ram TRX at 1000X and the Challenger SRT at 1000X, giving you the opportunity to possibly win both. Learn more at tk'sgarage.bigcartel.com. That is right, guys. Welcome on back to TK's Garage. So Kash Patel, and I'm hearing all the rumors that maybe Kash Patel's out at the FBI. I don't see it. I know Bongino quit and he's back to doing whatever he's doing, but I just don't see that happening with Patel. And to be honest with you, looking at what he's doing right now in California has got to be driving Gavin Newsom up the wall. They're focusing in now on these grants that the California Air Resource Board was issuing. Now, if you're wondering what these grants did, so they had these grants, from federal money that they got from the federal government that they would then give out to other people for, say, I don't know, let's say you have a semi truck and you want to jump on whatever this new program is, and you want to try to convert your diesel semi truck into an electric semi truck. They actually had grants to let you try to do that. Okay. They had grants where you could convert like an old classic car to an electric car, and some people actually took advantage of it. I know there were some famous actors and stuff that were in on that. Like Robert Downey Jr., for example. But then you had other people who were related to people at the California Air Resource Board. You can understand where this is going now, huh? Where they were like, yeah, we want to convert this. I want to get one of these new economically friendly engines for my vehicle. Did they ever buy that engine? Was the work order or the paperwork ever submitted after they got that grant money to show that it was done? Nope. And this is just another version. Everybody keeps talking about Minnesota this, Minnesota that, Minnesota this, with the fraud that's going on at Minnesota. But it pales in comparison to what's going on in California. And now that they're digging in and they're seeing just this grant program from the California Air Resource Board alone, just the fact that there's so much, and it's the last year that they actually had some serious money was 2019, right? Was it 2019? No, it was 2023, I believe. Maybe it was 24. I know 2019 is another one that they're looking at, but 2023 or 24, I believe, is the one that was in the news recently. $26.2 billion with a B. $1 billion with a B was given out by the California Air Resource Board in grants to individuals. Now, you would think it's a conflict of interest if you're giving out money to family members at the California Air Resource Board, right? That would be common sense. Of course, they can't allow that. I mean, radio stations aren't allowed to give away free cars to family members and other stuff that are in contests, right? No way that the state of California would allow somebody to systematically abuse the system, right? No. You don't think so, right? Wrong. Of course they did. Ladies and gentlemen, of course they did. And now, when they're auditing this 20-something billion dollars, $26 billion that was issued by California, magically there's no records. We don't know where this money went. It just disappeared. Fairy dust into the ether. Well, you don't say. Well, now the feds are digging into it. And it is another black eye on Gavin Newsom, and it's putting his presidential aspirations, his campaign, at risk. I mean, there's only so many times, like, look, even Tim Walz in Minnesota realized there's just so much shit on the wall right now. I can't wipe it all away. I can't run for re-election. I just have to step down. And that's what Tim Walz does in Minnesota. I'm not going to run for re-election. And now he's talking about just resigning as governor. Like, come on, man. You think Newsom's going to do that, though? No, I think he'll be one that will stay in for his full term no matter how bad it gets, so he can maximize how much money he can get out of that system to the very end. That's the kind of guy he is. Doesn't surprise me in the least. What does surprise me, though, is just the level of scumbaggery that we're seeing out of California. And I am enjoying it, because one of the biggest things for us that I wanted with the California Air Resource Board is I wanted it to get shut down. Now, I know that the Republican candidates on the other side that are running for governor are all talking about what they will do with the California Air Resource Board and how they would rein them in. And I know that the head of the California Air Resource Board resigned, and I get all of that, because Newsom wanted him gone. Because really put Newsom in a bad spot with the refineries and everything else. I think the fraud that's about to get exposed in California will sink Gavin Newsom long before it's time for him to run for president. That's just me. I want to know what you guys think about the massive fraud, the $26 billion that just can't be accounted for. And it's funny. It went from $26 billion the year before to in 2025, and it was 24, to in 2025, they only gave out 1.2 million that they have on the books. You went from 26 billion to 1 point something million, and you still didn't give all of it out. Huh. Funny how that happens. Interesting. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section down below. Give the video a big thumbs up if you like what I do. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. We're back to our regularly scheduled program. And as always, stay petty, my friends.